Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and we had another installment of the college football playoff rankings, and there was a little bit of a surprise last night. I think the biggest surprise last night happened with which I have been calling for a couple of weeks now with Alabama and Notre Dame. Alabama should have never been ranked below Notre Dame, but last night the committee put Alabama ahead of Notre Dame, which is huge because now, say BYU upsets Texas Tech, that's a bid stealer right there. Notre Dame, who's now in the field, I think if BYU wins, Notre Dame will be out of the field. So that is big. That 10 spot is the spot you don't want to be in because according to the All-State playoff predictor, Notre Dame has a 58% chance of making it. Now Alabama has a 97% chance of making it. So that was huge that Alabama
that,
leaped
right?
over Notre Dame. Why do you think they did that?
To protect Alabama if they lose next week or this week.
To protect
That's
them.
why.
Yeah,
to protect
So
them.
do you think they should have been ranked? I thought Bama should have been ranked ahead of Notre Dame. Do you think they should have been?
I think Notre Dame's a better team than Bama.
You keep saying that. You keep saying Notre Dame's better.
I think Notre Dame is the second best team in the country.
Wow, you are high on Notre Dame.
The way they're playing, I will take them over anybody else besides Ohio State on the football field right now.
Wow. That's crazy.
And I don't like the way Bama's been playing the last couple of weeks. They've been, the Auburn game, they were, killing DeBoer, going for it there. That was a gutsy call. Got away with it. The Oklahoma game, they dominated, but they ended up losing. They didn't play great against LSU. They didn't play great against South Carolina. They're not playing their great football right now. So that's why they did it, to protect Alabama. And also the other thing is if they win this week against Georgia, there's no way that the SEC champion does not get one of the top 4 buys either.
Do you think they get a bye?
That's pretty much why they flipped it. Yeah,
Okay.
They get a bye. They're not leaving out the SEC team in the top 4.
They're not. Wow. Do you think Georgia stays in the top 4?
They lose closely, yes. They lose close. I think they do.
So Texas Tech would be the team that would move out.
I think they would. Yeah.
Wow. So you say if Bama wins,
no.
So Bama wins, they jump to the 3 seed.
3 or 4. I probably the 4 if Texas Tech wins. I'd say because Georgia, they moved to 3.
Yeah, because Georgia would move down to 4, Texas Tech moves down to 5.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's gonna happen. Yeah. Even though, because then Georgia will be 4 because they'll say, well, they're 10-0. They just only lost to 2 teams. They've lost to the same team twice, who's number 3. So that will be their excuse to have Georgia still at 4. So So you have 2 Big Ten, 2 SEC sitting there.
Yeah. So another big takeaway from this is how close Miami is getting Notre Dame. Notre Dame's at 10, Miami's at 12, and say Texas Tech wins, and Notre Dame, and it comes down between Miami, because if Texas Tech wins, it's going to come down pretty much that last spot, because obviously the group of 5 and the ACC champion will take the last 2 spots, but that 10th spot is going to come down to Miami or Notre Dame. First ask, do you think Miami will leave Notre Dame? I don't think so. I think Notre Dame will stay ahead of Miami. I think Notre Dame will stay ahead of Miami because the committee's been consistent about Notre Dame being ahead of Miami the entire time.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, if they would have done it, they probably would have done it by now. So I'm with you. I don't think they will. Now, Hunter Yurchek said last night that it's easier to judge head-to-head losses if they're back-to-back. With the teams being back-to-back.
Yeah.
So I guess if BYU lost big, which could happen, Miami moves to 12 or moves up to 11, then maybe they flop with them in Notre Dame. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to happen. But you'd never know with this committee. Because they did Texas Vandy. Texas is 9-3. Vandy's 10-2, but Texas does have that head-to-head. So
yeah.
It's possible, I guess.
But I think those 2 teams are out of it, though, at this point, Texas and Vandy.
Yeah. Texas better be out of it. Sarkisian going to bat about it. It's like, dude, but the Ohio State, we won't schedule Ohio State again. Well, don't lose a 3-9 at Florida.
Florida. Yeah, should not have lost to Florida. That was the problem. That was their issue.
And then back-to-back OT victories against Kentucky and Mississippi State that's not a playoff team. Sorry, Sark.
Yeah.
You complain about Ohio State all you want, but it's a Florida loss. Did you win?
Exactly. Absolutely. I definitely agree there. So, but now it comes to the question: should Miami be ahead of Notre Dame if say they're right next to each other, should they be ahead? I know Miami beat them head to head, but I'm going to say no because I think Notre Dame's losses are actually better losses. They lost to A&M, they lost to Miami. Miami lost to Louisville at home. Louisville at home. Come on, and they lost to SMU. Both those teams are not in the playoff. Those teams are not in the playoff. So I'm going to say I know Miami beat Notre Dame, but I'm going to say Notre Dame's losses are better losses. So I'm going to say that Notre Dame should be ahead of Miami.
I agree they should, but the thing with me is Miami should be ahead because because Miami has a head-to-head win. If we're not going to value the head-to-head wins, then why play the games?
Yeah.
Like why would Miami schedule Notre Dame again? You're gonna schedule Bethune-Cookman instead.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's my worry. So I think Notre Dame would be a better representation in the playoffs than Miami would, and I think Notre Dame's done a bit more than Miami has the way they played lately. But if I know it was week 1. I know they're both different teams now, but if you're not going to value the head-to-head wins, why schedule these big games? You're going to kill them.
My thing with head-to-head, if they're it's like an Oklahoma or Alabama, you both play SEC schedules. I think you value that. But the thing about head-to-head is Miami played in an awful conference. They didn't even make their conference championship game. They couldn't even make the ACC championship game. And you're going to put them over a team that made it to the national title game last year that's playing probably, as you said, is playing really good football. I know I'll value my thing with head to head. I will value head to head if you're on a level playing field. I do think Notre Dame. I don't think Miami played a team as good as Texas A&M all season long. They really didn't. So if you're on an even playing field, I'll go with head to head. But I don't think it's totally an even playing field. I think Notre Dame played a little bit tougher of a schedule. So I think Notre Dame should get that spot over Miami.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they should, but they just had that. So I do have to say the schedule. Notre Dame is 42nd, Miami's 44. So it's
close.
That big of a difference. It's
they
close.
did beat them, I get it. But to lose to Louisville at home.
I know.
Come on.
And then
Come on.
And Louisville team that the wheels fell off, and an SMU team that I don't know. I don't know how they.
An SMU team that couldn't beat Cal to get into the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
SMU. Yeah. And Louisville. I'll go with head to head if it's a level playing field. If it's not a level playing field. I know it's close, but I think Notre Dame played a tougher schedule. Miami did not play a team as good as Texas A&M this year. It's as simple as that. So that's why I would go with Notre Dame.
No, and I agree. They didn't, and that hurts Miami. And what the ACC needs to do next year is the first tiebreaker be the playoff ranking needs to be the first tiebreaker. Who has the highest playoff ranking? So that just doesn't happen again. Because I know the Mountain West, I believe, does it. I believe there might be another group of 5, I think, does it too. But yeah, so I do agree. I think Notre Dame is a better team than Miami, and they would beat Miami if they played again today. The problem, I get it with the head-to-head thing, and I get it with the even playing field. Notre Dame's a better team. You're just gonna get these big time teams are just gonna cancel these non-con series and just let's just go 3-0 against all Sisters of the Poor, and then we'll just battle out because why play one of these big games if we're not, if it's not going to matter in December? That's the only thing. I totally agree. I think Notre Dame should be in, but if the committee does it like that, you're just opening a whole can of worms. And if you want good games in September, some of these coaches I could see wuss out and just cancel some of these big time series.
That's a great point. That's a great point. We're not going to say they take Notre Dame over Miami and there's actually a good chance they probably will. Because I looked at the predictor. Miami's got 11% chance to get in. Notre Dame's got a 58% chance to get in. So say Texas Tech beats BYU, and everything stays the same. There is a really good chance that they are going to take Notre Dame over them. And you're right, it's going to set a precedence that we're not going to see some of these really good matchups on the first 2 weeks of the college football season. You're right about that.
Yeah, it would. Now I know we've been talking about Notre Dame, Miami, but you know who in the middle of that? BYU. Their metrics are actually better.
Really?
Like both those.
So say they lose to Texas. Do you think their metrics are actually better than those teams?
Yeah, they are. I don't think they're going to get in, but I think their metrics are better for the most part. Like their FBI, Notre Dame's is third, BYU's 15, Miami 7, so they're not ahead there. BYU has the stronger strength of record. They're sixth. Notre Dame's 13, Miami's 14th.
Wow.
BYU's got the tougher strength of schedule. They're 35th, Notre Dame 42, Miami 44. And then versus the college playoff top 25 teams, BYU's 2-1, Notre Dame 1-2, Miami 1-0. So
yeah, and BYU is ranked. BYU is ranked ahead of Miami right now. And again, say but I wasn't thinking of this. Say BYU lose to Texas Tech and they knock them down. What's the point in playing in a conference championship game? So and the committee was consistent last year about conference championship games not hurting teams.
Yeah. And I think that's true. And that's why there's a part of me that I know there's so much money involved in the conference change games and we'll never do it, but you should just get rid of it because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't at this point.
Yeah.
Because especially if they're not going to matter, and if you're not going to hold it to value, because it's not because the SEC and Big Ten ones, I know the Big Ten one doesn't matter, both those teams, but for the SEC one, you're going to have a 3-loss Bama team in there now. That's not playing great football, but we'll give an excuse because they just played the SEC.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We talk SEC too about the 3-loss Bama team getting in.
Yeah, so it's just it's not great. So I get there's a ton of money involved. They should get rid of it. I just know they won't and you can start the playoffs this week or next week. It'd just be better. Exactly. It would help the sport. So that's why. So I didn't want to bring up the BYU point because they probably should be ahead of Notre Dame because they are 11-1 too. They don't have that.
Forget they are 11-1. Yeah, they are 11-1, and Miami's got 2 losses, and the one loss for BYU was to Texas Tech.
Very good.
And their second loss would be to Texas Tech too, if they lose that.
And it would. And we're going to get Georgia the pass if that happens, but BYU might not get that pass. So
exactly.
I get it. Georgia's the better team, but sets a precedent. It's not great.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the sport, but they make it harder and harder every year with some of this stuff to want to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. All righty, so before we get into the games, we can't avoid this. We got to talk about Lane Kiffin taking the LSU job, and I think this is absolutely terrible. Lane Kiffin taking this job when he has. He's just got a team to the playoffs. Now he's going to Ole Miss. I think this is really bad on Lane Kiffin to take this job. Didn't mean to go into LSU. I think it's really bad on Lane Kiffin to take this job. I know LSU is a bigger brand than Ole Miss, but I think this is a terrible spot to put the team he used to coach into the playoff. And the question really is will he win a national title in the next 5 years? And I'm going to say no because we've never really seen him coaching in the college football playoff. None of his teams ever made. I mean, Ole Miss never made the college football playoff, and I know they turned the program around. This would have been his first time coaching in the college football playoff, but they never made it. I mean, when he was at USC, they obviously never made it. When he was in Tennessee, he was coached there for 1 year, so we've never seen him coach in the college football playoff. So I don't think they will. I really don't, because I think Lane is a really good coach. I wouldn't say Lane is a great coach.
Oh, I'm with you. I've been on this for years with Lane. I think he's a very good offensive mind. He's just not a serious head coach. And I just think he always puts out these cryptic tweets. He's always a couple weeks ago, he's retweeting that DJ Lagway's bench. That stuff that Ole Miss, sure, they don't care. At LSU, you're not totally focused in. LSU fans aren't going to find that funny. They're just not. And you look at it too, where I know Brian Kelly didn't get it done, but Ed Georgeons won a title there. Les Miles, Nick Saban, the expectation there is to win a national championship. Ole Miss, you go 11-1, 10-2, and just the model consistency, and they'll love you at Oxford, and they'll go build you a statue. I get it. LSU is one of the few jobs out there that still recruits itself because you can probably know this. Every high school in Louisiana is either purple and gold colors or their nickname is the Tigers. Yeah. You could it recruits itself. I get it. It has a higher ceiling, but you're just it's a horrible look. And it's another thing what's wrong with college football is the calendar. And it's awful that signing day is today. That's another thing, and the portal opens up.
Because I remember I remember you saying they used to be in February.
It used to. Then they moved it up. Yeah. An early one. There is one in February, but barely any kids sign now.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually it's the third week in December. For whatever reason, I didn't even realize it till the other day that it was this Wednesday. I don't know why they even moved it. I think some of the playoff coaches wanted that moved up. but like it's still an issue. So like the calendar stinks, but yeah, like the way he left Ole Miss was awful, and the way he played them and to sound like the victim was embarrassing. So that's just why he's not a serious coach. He just everything's about Lane Kiffin, and you do, and next year LSU does head to Oxford, and then he also has to go back to Knoxville too. So two tough ones for Lane Kiffin to have to go on the road to next year. But yeah, I don't think he'll win an national championship there. I just don't think he's a serious enough of head coach. And if I was Ole Miss, I would have fired him 3 weeks ago. Because remember, my last point on this. Because remember in 1889 in college basketball when Bill Frieder, the Michigan basketball head coach, wanted to go to Arizona State.
1989.
Yeah, 1989. Yeah,
Yep.
you know, and he wanted to coach the team in the tournament. Bo Schemblacker, the AD,
Didn't
goes,
let him.
I want a Michigan man. Yeah,
Steve Fisher,
I want a Michigan man. Not here to.
Steve Fisher, and then they won a national
they
title.
win the national. Yeah. Now, Seton Hall probably got jibbed, but that's another story.
PJ would tell you that. PJ would tell you that.
Yeah. Yes, he would. But again, then we get the Fab Five. So like, I don't blame. I would have fired him if I was the AD. Told him to take a hike. But so who knows? I don't think this Ole Miss team's gonna go win a national championship, but they're motivated, and the guys. There's some guys kind of not happy with Lane the way things left, and I guess his messaging.
And you saw from yesterday that with Ole Miss, you saw from yesterday, it really didn't affect their ranking. The committee didn't penalize, and I'm happy the committee didn't penalize the kids because the kids earned being in the playoff comfortably, and the committee didn't penalize them from that, and I give them respect for that.
Yeah, no, they do, and I think it is because I know some people brought up the Jordan Travis argument, but like that's a quarterback. That's a totally different argument. Because Charlie Weiss Jr. is going to be the OC. And he's going to be with the team through the playoffs now. That helps too. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't penalize him because it's not the kids' fault and they deserve it. And hey, they rallied around Pete Gold in DC. I know he's like the main recruiter. That speech didn't really give me the great confidence, but I guess he's a great recruiter, so he must know how to speak, be able to land kids that he does. So, but yeah, I'm happy, and we'll see. That team's gonna be pretty motivated, especially if they get a home game. That's gonna be an electric crowd out down in Oxford.
Yeah, it definitely will be. Absolutely. If they get home, it's going to be electric, and it's going to be tough for Lane Kiffin to go. Oh, that's going to be so interesting when he goes back
next year.
Oh, they are going to roast Lane, and they should. They should be They should be pissed off at Lane Kiffin. They should be. I mean, what he did was
see the airport?
Awful. Oh, really? Well, how bad was it? I heard
they were bad. You could see the people hanging their middle fingers up at them on the plane. Even the other coaches that were leaving were getting the treatment too. So I can't. It's just gonna. Remember when Chris Beard went back to Texas and they're rocking the Texas bus back and forth? It's gonna be something similar. That's gonna be an ugly scene.
I bet it's gonna be ugly for Lane Kiffin. I definitely think it is going to be. But we're gonna move on to championship week. Start with the SEC title game, a rematch from a game in week 5 that Bama won 27-24. And in this game, I think it's close. I think it's really close again. But I just don't think that Kalen DeBoer is going to beat Kirby twice. I don't think he's going to beat Kirby twice. So I think this is going to be it's another Georgia Bama conference championship game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive. But I think Georgia runs the football better. I think Gunnar Stockton makes less mistakes than Ty Simpson. I think it comes right down to the end where Gunnar Stockton leads a game-winning drive. And I'm going to go with Georgia to repeat as SEC champs. I'm going to go with Georgia here to win this game 27-24 over Alabama. But Justin, can DeBoer beat Georgia twice and win the SEC?
I'm going to go back and forth on this one. I'm going to take the Bulldogs 27-23. For Kirby, Alabama's been his kryptonite. He's 1-7 all time. Kalen DeBoer now is 2-0 against them. And Alabama's gone out through some really good starts against Georgia the last couple of years. In the first half, they've averaged 27 points a game against the Bulldogs. In the second half, they're only averaging under a touchdown. So Kirby Smart's made some really good adjustments at the half. Can they come out and make the adjustments early on to keep this game close early on? I think they do. Ty Simpson, that offense hasn't looked great. They asked Ty Simpson to do so much because they can't get a running game going. And the last couple of weeks, the offensive line around him hasn't played as well. And he's been a little bit less comfortable in the pocket. This Georgia pass rush has been non-existent all year, so maybe that helps Ty Simpson out in this one. But in Atlanta, I'm gonna get the edge here to Georgia, and Kirby Smart finally gets over the hump of late against Alabama here, and they do win a close one, 27-23.
Yeah, this is gonna be a great game. It always is. It always is in the SEC title game. It's always a great game between these two teams. And really the question is say Georgia wins the game and Bama gets their third loss. Should they be in the college football playoff if they lose this game, Bama? Absolutely, without question. Because if they don't, what's the point in playing the conference championship game? It would only hurt them. It would be stupid if Bama loses this and doesn't get into the playoff. It would be stupid. So they absolutely should be in the playoff if they lose this game. There's no question.
I know, I agree. Especially if it's a close game. And that's why they moved them up. It's just for protection. Because yeah, like if they were to lose a close game, they get eliminated in this game, then yeah, they kind of change the games are done. Like they especially if it's an SEC one, they will go with the championship games from now on. So I agree, they're gonna get in, and yeah, they lose a hard fought game. They definitely still deserve to be in. Even if they get blown out, they're probably still gonna get in. So I agree. It would just set a totally different standard, and the committee's made it pretty clear that these games they're not really going to impact much on how they rank these teams.
And they should. I mean, how could a team like Alabama get hurt by making the game, and then teams like Ole Miss and Texas A&M benefit from not making the game in the most competitive conference in college football? So, to me, that's absolutely the right move for the SEC. It's the right move for the committee not to put as much emphasis on these games because you shouldn't be rewarding teams that don't make it. You should be rewarding the teams that do make it. So, and it doesn't make conference championship game is what it used to be. The best week of college football is definitely the week before. Rivalry week's great because you had a bunch of teams last week clinching spots. You had like 4 or 5 teams clinching spots. You had Alabama and Oklahoma. Those games were so exciting with trying to watch them clinch spots. So I definitely think that I like what they're doing with not penalizing these teams. So yeah, there's no way if Bama loses this game that they should be out of the playoff. No way.
Yeah, I agree. This is why they should just get rid of them in general, because they don't have the same buzz and juice that they once has. So there's a ton of money involved. I get it for the TV partners; they get a ton of ticket sales and all that, but it's just not worth it anymore. Because yeah, it's always to me a great game. It's not like I'm not going to watch, but both these teams are going to be in. It's not like a make or break thing like it was with the 14 playoffs. So, or even before like a BCS game back in the day. So, I agree. They're not going to penalize them, and it's kind of why I hope in the near future that they get rid of them, but we'll see.
All right, move on to the Big Ten championship game. We got the number 1 team against the number 2 team. Got number 1 Ohio State taking on number 2 Indiana, and I think this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Sane is going to play well. I think that he's going to throw 2 or 3 touchdown passes. I do think this will be the toughest test. This is by far the toughest test that Ohio State's had all year. I know they had played Arch Manning in the first week of the year, but outside of that, this is their toughest test facing Fernando Mendoza and Indiana. And I think both defenses are going to play well, but both offenses are going to score some points. I think both offenses are going to move the ball and score some points. I think it's going to be close, come down to the end. But I think that Ohio State defense, which is the best in the country, led by Matt Patricia, makes a big stop at the end. I think the defending champs stay undefeated and clinch the number 1 seed. I got Ohio State winning the Big Ten. This is funny. This would be their first Big Ten title since 2020 in 5 years because they kept losing to Michigan, and Michigan kept going to the Big Ten championship game. Last year, they lost to Michigan, and Penn State ended up going to the game against Oregon. So this is the first time Ohio State's in the Big Ten championship game since 2020. I think they beat Indiana. I got them beating Indiana 27-20. But Justin, can Cignetti and Mendoza lead Indiana to an upset win over Ohio State, and this will be Indiana's first Big Ten title? I don't know the last time Indiana won the Big Ten. It might be the first time they win the Big Ten since 1967. So lead them to their first Big Ten title in over 50 years.
Yeah, I would. And I got the Buckeyes here too, 24-16. Francisco Mendoza did not play great against Purdue last week. He was only 8 for 15 with like 175 yards. He got 2 or 3 balls that probably should have been interception that if they played somebody better probably pick those balls off. I like Mendoza. He's a very good quarterback. But, like, the other tougher test that he played was Penn State, and he was mediocre up until that last drive, and his
Yeah,
wide receiver bailed him out on that touchdown.
yeah, yeah.
Now you're going up against this Ohio State defense that could put some pressure on you. I think Indiana's O-line is definitely better than it was last year. Um, but still, how much better is it? We really haven't seen this Indiana team get tested much, and if this team falls behind early, we really haven't seen them fall behind all year. Like even that Oregon game, Oregon tied them a couple times, but that was it. They regained the lead after that. And so for this one, I think Indiana offensively is going to have some issues. I just think everybody at Ohio State has had it, and I don't think they're going to score enough. Like I think as long as Ohio State, I have 24 points. Like I don't know if Indiana's going to score more than that. If you're Ohio State, you score 24. I think you feel really good about yourself. Because I haven't seen anybody be able to really sustain much offensively go Ohio State. I know Michigan the first drive they had a couple of big runs, but like that was it. The rest of the game they didn't do much at all. So I just think this Ohio State defense is nasty. I think they're aggressive. I think they get after Mendoza, and I think Sane plays well enough in this one. And Ohio State does enough here, and they just kind of keep them at arm's length. And I think Ohio State rolls and remains undefeated.
So the question really is should the winner of this game be the favorite to win the national title? And I'm going to say yes because they're the number one seed, and I think being the number one seed is important in this playoff the way it's seeded. So it's not like last year where Oregon got the one seed and they had to play Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say that I'm going to say that the winner of this game, whoever wins this game, is going to be the favorite to win the national title. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes too. Because I think Ohio State by far, well, maybe not by far, but a couple points better than anybody else. And if Indiana could actually beat these guys, then I'd have to flip flop them, and I'd have to put Indiana up there. Even if Indiana wins, I'm very close to putting Notre Dame number one, but because they beat this Ohio State team, I have to put Indiana there number one. So I would agree with you. I think they should be because then they'd be the one, and you get the 8-9. So you get Oklahoma, Bama. Me at the 8-9 right now. And both those two teams aren't playing great. So yeah. So I agree with you. I think the winner should be the favorite.
I would agree. I think I agree with you. I think the winner of this game should be the favorite to win the national title. Now moving on to the Heisman Trophy. Look at the Heisman odds. Julian Saint's the favorite. You got Diego Pavia in there, but you also got Fernando Mendoza. Should the winner, whichever quarterback wins, should they be the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy? And I'm going to say yes to that too.
For me, if Mendoza and Indiana win it, I think Mendoza is. I think if Ohio State wins and it's like what I have, like 24-16, I think Pavia is going to win it because I think the national perception of Julian Saint is it's more Smith, Cardell Tate, and that defense and everybody else around him. So unless if Ohio State goes out there and Saint throws for 350 and they win a shootout, I think if Ohio State wins, I think Pavia is the favorite. And again, he probably deserves it because if it's not for him, Vandy's probably a 5-6 win team. So like I wouldn't hate it, but I do think Saint's a real deal. I've been high on him since September. I think he would deserve it still, but I just think the national media would just say, "Hey, he's got such a great football team. Look at what Diego Pavia did." So I think Mendoza is if Indiana wins, but Ohio State wins, I think it's Pavia.
Yeah, I think it's the winner of this game. I think whoever wins this game, that quarterback's the Heisman because they're the quarterback. That's how it usually goes with the Heisman, though. Outside of that one year with Mac Jones and Devontae Smith, it's usually the quarterback on the best team. So I do think whoever wins this game wins the Heisman. Whatever quarterback wins this game wins the Heisman.
Yeah. I agree if it's Indiana. I agree it should be Saint if Ohio State wins, but I just think the national perception, because it's the Ohio State team, they're going to give it to Pavia. So it probably deserves it too. But I think Saint would deserve it. But that's what I could see very easily could happen.
Yeah, alrighty. So we'll move on to the Big 12 championship game, and Texas Tech against. But you got BYU against Texas Tech. Huge game for BYU. They pretty much need this to get into the college football playoff. They pretty much need this win to get in to the college football playoff. And these teams faced off about a month ago, where Texas Tech won 29-7. And I think it's gonna be more of the same because the one thing this is a bad matchup for BYU because the one thing BYU does well is they run the ball. But Texas Tech does a great job stopping the run with David Bailey and Jacob Rodriguez. Jacob Rodriguez probably you think he's winning the Buckets Award, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
For the
absolutely.
best
He should.
linebacker in the country. He should win the
Oh
Buckets
yeah.
Award. David Bailey's a first round pick too. So I think this is a game where Texas Tech is in control the entire way. Their defense forces a couple turnovers. They contain L.J. Martin, and I think they play well on offense. I think Texas Tech wins this by 2 scores and wins the Big 12. I got Texas Tech winning this game 30-24 over BYU. But Justin, can L.J. Martin run the Cougars to a Big 12 title?
I agree with you. It's just a bad matchup for him. I got Texas Tech 30-14. The first time I remember bringing it up, can BYU block Texas Tech? And they could not. Texas Tech just overwhelmed them up front. And Texas Tech didn't even play that well, and they still won by 22 points. So I think, even if maybe you get BYU a little bit of a coaching bump this week. Now that Kalani Sitake's staying, they gave him the extension. He's not going to Penn State. Maybe they get, maybe there's a nice little coaching bump for BYU this game. I could see it. I just think Texas Tech is just so dominant. And yeah, you mentioned it. BYU the first game. LJ Martin just came back for injury. He's their leading rusher. He only had 35 yards on 11 carries at that meeting. And I think BYU only had 67 yards as a whole. So I don't think they're going to get many more than like 80 rushing yards, if that, in this game. And because Bear Bachmeier, that's what they need, because he's not a great drop back passer, and he's not going to sling it around the yard. They need to establish that running game. They get the play action game going to set up their passing game. I don't think that's going to happen against a Texas Tech team like this. So I have Texas Tech kind of controlling this game like they did the first time, and kind of keeping BYU at a distance here. And I got Texas Tech rolling, and still trying to fight to get one of those bye spots.
Moving on to the ACC championship game between Duke and Virginia, and Virginia beat them by 2 or 3 scores, about a couple weeks ago in Duke. I think it's a little more competitive, but I think it's more, and the spread's pretty close for a Duke team that has 5 losses. The spread's pretty close, but I think UVA wins this. They win it by 10. I think they win this game by 10 and they get into the college football playoff. But Justin, could Duke get us 2 group of 5 teams in the college football playoff?
Yeah, that would be hilarious. And I think Duke's only shot to win this game is winning a shootout. And I got the Cavs 38-21. Yeah, you just mentioned they played a couple weeks ago. Virginia was up 31-3 heading the fourth quarter, and Duke scored a couple of garbage time touchdowns and made the score look a little bit more respectable. UVA had about 540 yards. Duke secondary has not been good of late, especially. They've not played well defensively in the month of November. Actually, the only team that really did not do much offensively on Duke this month was North Carolina. Everybody else just moved the ball over them.
Of course, North Carolina was the team that didn't do much.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, of course, North Carolina. But yeah, so I just think Chandler Morrison's offense just continue to roll. And I don't think Duke's going to have many stops. And I have the Cavs 38-21. It's going to be cold and wet. Maybe that helps out Duke a little bit, but I have UVA kind of on cruise control winning this football game.
Yeah, me too. I think UVA gets into the playoff. Now, getting to the 2 group of 5 games, and the big one is Friday night between North Texas and Tulane. Both coaches are gone after this season, but I think this is a close compare. Is this game is it in New Orleans?
It's in Ullman Stadium. Yep.
Oh, it's not in the Superdome.
No. Tulane built the stadium about a decade ago, so they put Ullman Stadium, I believe.
Yep. So I think Tulane at home, I think this is a close competitive game, and I'm going to go with the Tulane Green Wave to get a group of 5 spot and get into the college football playoff. But Justin, can North Texas ruin that and get to the college football playoff?
I got the Green Wave here, 38-34. This should be an absolute shootout. North Texas defense is concerning. In this one, they're banged up, I know, and they have not stopped the run very well. Their North Texas quarterback Drew Messamaker, it's been a really cool story. He's a walk-on freshman who didn't start one game in high school as a starting quarterback. Comes here, wins his job over Reese Poffenberger, who I tore it up at Albany a couple years ago as a backup in Miami last year. I thought he was going to get the job, but Drew Messamaker, he's been awesome, and he's 6'4", like 220. He's got it. He's a future NFL quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be a first rounder, but he definitely will be playing on Sundays one day in the next couple of years. But until North Texas scored 33 points in all their games this year. I think Tulane with Jake Retzlaff, he was a late addition to the team. He's played well this year. I'm going to take Tulane here at home, 38-34, but it should be a high scoring game, like every North Texas game is. They gave up 63 this year to South Florida.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. And now, did who North Texas give 63 to South Florida?
Yeah, they give 63
Wow,
to South
wow,
Florida. Yeah.
wow. All righty, so we have another Group of 5, the Sun Belt Championship game. James Madison, who could stay in the race to get that second Group of 5 spot, and then they're big Duke fans on Saturday night. So, and I think JMU wins this, and I think they win it easily. I think if JMU wins this 34-10, and they'll be watching that ACC championship game very intently to try to get a spot in the college football playoff. Justin, I agree. You got the same with James Madison.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I got them 34-10. I think it'd be ugly, and for Troy, it's going to be 20 degrees and might be some wintry mix up in Harrisonburg on Friday night, and I don't think the Troy guys are going to like that very much. Troy's offensive line is abysmal. They've given up 49 sacks on the year, and James Madison's defense is really, really good. I think it's going to be a long night. I know Troy's offense has been great all year. Their quarterback's been banged up, Goose Crowder, but he was back last week, so he's good to go. But I just don't think they're going to do much. And Barnett, pretty solid quarterback, dual threat guy. I assume he's probably going to end up being in the portal. I think he'll be a nice power forward quarterback somewhere next year, more than likely. Good dual threat guy. He's got a nice arm. So Bob Chesney's done a great job there. I think Penn State's going to miss out on not hiring him. So I think UCLA hit it out of the park. I know that program's. Do you hear UCLA is not going back to the Rose Bowl next year? They're playing SoFi. They're going to start.
Wow, they're playing
So,
SoFi. Wow, you probably don't like that.
They're trying to get out of it.
Oh, really?
Rose
Wow.
Bowl. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate. I don't know how Chesney's going to do there. I think he's a great coach. It's going to be a tough spot, but I think it's a great hire, nonetheless. And I think James Madison rules.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised either. Now, before we get to UConn basketball, let's pick our top 12 and our playoff matchups. And Justin, I'll let you go first. With what your top 12, what the committee, what you think the committee is going to do on Sunday afternoon, and what your playoff matchups are going to be.
Yeah, so for me right now, I got Ohio State number 1. I'm gonna go Indiana 2 because they lose close enough where they're not gonna drop in the 3.
Yeah.
Number 3, I got Georgia. Number 4, I got Texas Tech. Number 5, I got the Ducks of Oregon. 6, Ole Miss. 7, A&M. 8, Oklahoma. You got 9, Alabama. 10, Notre Dame. Then I got 11. 11 is going to be Tulane, and 12 is going to be James Madison. So I got.
Oh wow!
Oregon,
Wow! Yeah, so you got Duke.
No, I have Virginia winning. Yeah, no, Virginia would be in.
Virginia would be 11.
Yeah, so I forgot Virginia. So Virginia 11, yes, and then 12 Tulane. My bad. Was going to say there maybe 2 group of 5 teams get in.
Yeah.
But so I got Oregon hosting Tulane. Then I got the 6-11 matchup, which is Ole Miss and Virginia. 7-10 A&M and Notre Dame, and then 8-9 Oklahoma, Alabama. Yeah,
from a couple 2 rematches there because you'll have 2 rematches, and you have 2 rematches with Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and Bama, Oklahoma.
That's a good point. Now I want to change it because, I kind of want to change because I don't know if they'll do rematches. I don't know.
I think they will. I think they'll just go with
they might.
Is because I have the same exact thing as you. I got Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Georgia 3, Tech 4, Oregon 5, Ole Miss 6, A&M 7, Oklahoma 8, Bama 9, Notre Dame 10. Since we both think that they're going to take Notre Dame over, if it comes down to it, they're going to take Notre Dame over Miami. We got UVA 11, and Tulane 12. And my matchups are Tulane going to Eugene, Virginia going to Ole Miss, Notre Dame going to Texas A&M, the rematch of that game in week 2 in South Bend. And then, another rematch with Bama against Oklahoma. So those are the games that I got as well.
Yeah. No, there's not much changes. I tried to do something, but I just, I don't think there's going to be too much movement. And BYU's really the one kind of bid sealer that could happen this weekend. So, I know it's kind of, I know our rankings are kind of boring but again, probably not much is going to happen unless if BYU wins, then we throw in some chaos. But a couple of good matches hopefully there in the first round, at least.
Yeah, especially with Notre Dame and A&M, their rematch, and then you got Bama and Oklahoma. So yeah, they got a rematch there. So yeah, some very very interesting matchups. And let me tell you, if Bama could play Ohio State in the second round, could be a Rose Bowl? Bama Ohio State
They could.
on New Year's Day. That could be. Oh man, imagine that. You got a Bama Ohio State. You got a you could get an Indiana Notre Dame rematch in the second round too. Georgia Ole Miss
Georgia Ole
rematch.
Miss. That's
And
another
then,
rematch.
and then you got Texas Tech, Oregon. But
Texas
yeah,
Tech, Oregon. That's an interesting one.
so you have potential. I mean, Notre Dame, Indiana be a rematch of last year's college football playoff. But yeah, should be very interesting to see what the committee does on Sunday afternoon. But we'll wrap up this show talking about some UConn basketball. And UConn got a big win. I know Peterson was out, but UConn got a big win at Kansas last night, 61-56. Mullins had his best game. Braylon Mullins with 17. Solo ball 17. He's been playing solo ball, played well against Illinois too. He had 17 last night. And Caravan stepped up late. So a big win for UConn. Justin, your thoughts on the win?
Yeah, heck of a win last night. They go down Fieldhouse where Bill Self now is like 121-18, I believe it is at Allen Fieldhouse. So anytime you go there and win a basketball game, you don't apologize for it. Yeah, they didn't have Pearson. You kind of have Reed and look, Eric Ryba, the freshman, and Braylon Mullins, those two walked in the Allen Fieldhouse and had no fear, and especially Mullins, that guy's got no conscience, and he's got such a great stroke. And with him on the ball, with him and solo ball on the floor together now, you can run a lot of two-man action for it because they're just two really good shooters. But that was huge, and I think for UConn too now, you think very possible you can go 5-1 in this non-con slate. Which would be huge because at worst, UConn's worst record, I think, in the Big East Conference is 16-4. You're setting yourself up for a 1-2 seed at the worst of two. With how bad the conference is shaping up, be great to go 5-1 in this non-con slate, and you'd absolutely take it all day. And hey, if you got Reed, you beat Arizona. If you have Reed and Mullins, you beat Arizona, you go 6-0. So.
Yep.
You feel great about where UConn is right now. So to go down Fieldhouse, where a team, they can't shoot. They hit 4 of their first 6 threes. Kansas did. They went 1-12 the rest of the game. It's not a team that can shoot. They need Peterson because that's their big shooter.
Yeah, and then my takeaway was, big win, big win. I mean, you had solo ball stepping up, you had Mullins stepping up, Caravan stepping up. Did only score 61 points though, and really the question is if Peterson plays, does Kansas win? I think yes, because UConn only scored 61 points, even though UConn didn't have Terrence Reed out. Terrence Reed didn't play for UConn. So.
I still think UConn could have got that game because
really?
Kansas is going to be one of the best defensive teams in the country. They got really good athletes. They just can't shoot. They're a really good defensive team. So I'm not shocked they went in there and scored only 61. That's a tough place to go into. But yeah, maybe because I could see Kansas maybe winning that game because what UConn kind of did, especially more in the second half, they kind of sagged off a little bit and they kind of let Kansas try to hit some of those jumpers. They didn't. Like I thought Kansas should have gone inside more to Floyd Buganda. He only had 7 points. Like Eric Ryba kind of outplayed him. I thought Kansas should have given him more touches inside. But yeah, I could see UConn going. But hey, if they had Reed, I feel better about them scoring inside as well. So, yeah, I could see because Peterson's possibly the number 1 pick in the draft next year. So it's definitely close. You'd love to see both teams full strength there, but UConn's not gonna apologize going in and get a win in Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, to say they'd be 3-1 in this stretch against BYU, Arizona, Illinois, and Kansas, you're taking that any day of the week. And imagine if they can go 5-1 and beat Florida and Texas. That would be great going into Big East play.
Yeah, it would. Because the net rankings were released the other day. I don't know if you've seen some of these Big East teams are at right now. Like Marquette was 167 last night. So, the Butler was 21st. St. John's was 23, and then that was it. Like then Seton Hall's 50th. So, UConn's going to need to rack up these wins now. And look, they really haven't been fully healthy yet either now. And that's the other thing is they're getting this done and not being fully healthy. So you feel great about where they're at right now. And now that I hope Reed doesn't play Friday and they get him ready for Tuesday against Florida. And then because after that Butler game, they're for the 16th, it's DePaul, Xavier, Marquette at Providence, DePaul, Seton Hall, Georgetown, Nova, Providence, and then before that's your month of January. It's not that bad. So like they could really go on a roll here. And like we talked a little bit before the show, I think they're right there with Michigan and Purdue. I'm starting to get there, maybe there with Duke as well, but they're right there to win national championship because they're only getting healthy now.
Now, speaking of Duke, the team that Duke beat last night is Florida, and that's who UConn will play in the Jimmy V Classic at Madison Square Garden next Tuesday. And what's your thoughts on this game? What's your thoughts on this matchup against the defending champs who have 3 losses already?
Yeah, for Florida, it's a guard play. I was wrong. I thought Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee would come in and would kind of pick up right where they left off last year, and both those guys haven't shot the 3 ball well. Florida's shooting the ball; they're 327 in the country in 3-point shooting percentage right now. Hasn't been great. The thing is, Florida's got a ton of size. Thomas Houck is going to play the 3, and he's like 6'9". And he's more of like a 4 or a 5, and they rebound. Their offensive rebounding. They're 5th in the country. They rebound 43% of their misses. So they got to rebound, and that's why they need Terrace Reed back just to get some size help in that one. Ken Palm has a spread 3 -3 for UConn here. But yeah, Lee and Flan. Hopefully, you kind of keep them. Hopefully they continue to have their slumps, but I feel good about where Florida has not played as well as I thought they would here, and I feel good about where UConn's at right now. And Florida should have, Florida had chances last night. Gotta give credit to Shire. He actually ran a nice play there to set up a game winner. So maybe Shire's growing a little bit.
Yeah. We'll see if Shire's strong. But yeah, another tough matchup for UConn on Tuesday night. But looking forward to it as they will be back at the Garden just like they were on Black Friday to face the Gators of Florida. That's going to wrap it up for this week on Sports Talk with RJ. For Justin D'Onofrio, I am Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking about Week 15 of the NFL season and recapping the final rankings of the college football playoff and telling you who we think is going to win the Heisman. Have a great weekend, everyone.